I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Welcome to the Saturday Morning Community Forum. It's the end of the year. We're almost at December 31st, and each week we've brought you almost 52, well, it's really 50 weeks of continuous programming, unbroken. We've not missed, even in the midst of the pandemic, we've brought these broadcasts to you each and every week, trying to inform you, trying to inspire you, and trying to engage you. Well, now we really need you to join us. We need you to take out a membership. If you already have a membership, we need you to get 10 other people you know in your family. We need your support this year. There's so many things we're doing. We have a baby diaper drive. We have a food justice program. We are fighting for a change in police practices all across the nation. I know you saw the video of Miss Anjanette Young in Chicago. Well, she's just one of many people whose homes and lives have been invaded and shattered by inappropriate policing. And we have to address the criminal justice system. Well, we need your help. We need you involved. We need you engaged. We need your support. I need you to join us as we fight for change. Today, I know you're wondering what's going to be on the broadcast. We have a lot of information. We go every year to Cook County Jail following the mandate that Jesus said, when I was in prison, you visited me not. Well, we go every Christmas Day. Reverend Jackson visit those detainees in the Cook County Jail. Well, this year, because of COVID, they're not allowing visitors. And so we want to share with you the video that we shared with those in Cook County Jail. We had to do it virtually and remotely. You're going to hear an update on Atlanta, what's happening in Georgia. Georgia is still on our mind because we're waiting for a change in the United States Senate. We have 2 seats available, 2 seats coming right out of the South. And so we want to make sure that you get continuous updates. Call your friends in Georgia, make sure that they're voting. January is going to be a defining moment in Georgia. We want to make sure that you remain connected. And you see Reverend Jackson's column to keep you updated on the meaning of Christmas this year. Want to make sure that you know what's going on. Stay tuned. You can get us on Impact. You can get us on YouTube. And certainly we're live on Facebook. So wherever you are, we are. And we want you to get connected to us and tell your friends and families. We thank you, and God bless you, and have a Merry Christmas and a blessed and safe New Year. Stay focused, stay socially distant, and wear your mask.
Good morning, Rainbow Push Coalition, family and friends. My name is Carly Lewis, and I am a 7th grade scholar and a participant in the Push for Excellence Oratory Society. In recognition and celebration of Founders Month, I have been asked to share with you, our viewing audience, the names of our esteemed founders. Following the devastating news of the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968, a group of determined and resilient people were led and committed to not let his life's work be in vain. In 1971, this group of peaceful, powerful warriors established PUSH, People United to Save Humanity, later changed to People United to Serve Humanity. Undoubtedly, there are many who sacrificed and shared their time, talent, and treasure for the benefit of future generations such as my own. The names and contributions are immeasurable, but for the sake of owning and knowing our history, please make notes of the founding soldiers upon whose shoulders we stand.
We're here because I got word from Reverend Jesse Jackson and Rainbow Push, along with our alderman, 24th Ward Alderman Michael Scott, telling me that they had some turkeys and some groceries from Jewel. And of course, because our community is such in need, we accepted the invitation, and here we are. It's very important to be giving away food and resources, however the church can be a help. We are the hands and feet of Christ in this world. And like I said, our mission is to listen and to respond to the pain. So wherever there's pain, we got to address it, right? So partnering together with Rainbow Push and Michael Scott and our alderman is what we're all about, because it takes all of us meeting to meet the need in our community.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary, did you know that your baby boy would save our sons and daughters? Did you know that your baby boy has come to make you new? And this child that you delivered would soon did you know that your baby boy would one day heal a blind man? Baby, did you know that your baby boy would calm the sea with his hand? Did you know that your baby boy has spoken his child? And when you kiss your little baby, you kiss the face of God. The blind will see, the deaf will hear, the dead will live again. The lame will leap, the blind will see, the breathing of the Lord.
Good morning, brother and sister Cook County. We wish we could be today. We've been here 40 years, but we can't be there today because of the pandemic. Wonder if you're trapped in this pandemic today. We're going to fight to get your health restored. 8 people have died, inmates and the workers of Cook County. It's not right to be trapped in that situation. Two things for us. Number one, don't be here next year. Number two, don't do anything to keep you in there longer. We're going to fight to get you free, and free indeed. Because we can't be there. My son Jonathan and I, we were having a meeting to talk about some of what we see, what the real meaning of the day is. It's not about Santa Claus and trinkets. It has real meaning. Talk about the real meaning of Christmas, Jonathan.
Great to be with you again on this Christmas program again, Dad, and what you've shared with us over the years in Christmas is unto us a son is born, a child is given. It's a story of hope. It's a God coming on earth in the human flesh, a story of redemption, a story of salvation, a story that was meant to reach out to the poor, the lost, the least of these, those who have been left behind, the teenage mother that was impregnated in miraculous service, if you will, an unemployed father and had the faith to stay with his wife. And they challenged Herod, and it was a people's will for self-determination, and that this is indeed a divine moment. And so out of that, we have joy to the world.
Serious moment in history.
There's hope for the world. And unfortunately, where we are now, that we have to reclaim, if we will, the true meaning of the gospel is to bring hope to the poor. That the mass secularization seems to have been accelerated, unfortunately, when people should be given hope and a reason to live, and hope and a reason to understand salvation. Now it's become purely materialism.
Here's a baby that was born in the slums, born outdoors in the wintertime. He was scheduled to be killed at birth. Mary and Joseph, his mother and father, took him to Egypt as an immigrant, it saved him. 12 years old, so no matter where you're born and you can rise above your situation. Taught the message, you can rise above your situation. Born in the slum, someone born in him.
And the young couple had to do their government duty. They had to be counted in the census. They had to pay their taxes. And through King, if you will, Herod, that was a despot that was placed over another people, and the people were coming into their own, and they were looking for a symbol from God. It was a 400-year expectation, the season of Advent, high expectation. And I think that your religious philosophy and the spirit of Reverend Martin Luther King and Dr. Howard Thurman and Samuel Proctor, looking for the authentic Jesus. Reverend Jeanette Wilson has talked about that oftentimes, that that's what we are to claim, the authentic Jesus, and not this commercialization.
One thing we've done this year, last year we were able to get inside the jail a precinct.
A precinct for voting.
You can vote. If you're not in prison, you're not been convicted. You're pre-trial detention. You have the right to vote. You can vote for the judge, district attorney. You can vote for the U.S. attorney. You can vote for governor, president. You have the power. We want to keep you with your power.
The whole idea of citizenship and separating those that have been jailed, those waiting for a trial, so therefore they are innocent until proven guilty. They're full citizens, and their rights should be absolutely exercised. And the right of citizenship means that you can vote. Non-citizens cannot vote. Every citizen should vote. Even in this year, 2020, when we've seen this record high voting turnout, still 80 million people did not vote. We've got over 150 million people that did vote, 155 million, but still 80 million people did not use their franchise. And those persons, if we can reach them now, we pray that you come alive in Georgia.
Malcolm X was in jail, locked away. Turned his jail cell into a classroom, to a prayer room. You read, you thought, he planned to get out. Sometimes we plan to get back. If you do what you did to get there, you'll come back again. You must plan today to get out and don't come back.
Well, no plan is a plan to get back because it's a vicious system that it's almost having to break away out of the centrifugal force that's pulling young people down. And oftentimes, like you say, even if they build the jails, we have to make a commitment not to fill them up. And I think it starts with the sense of hope this mindless materialism. Somebody's going to go to jail right now that's watching us trying to get a PS5, a PlayStation for a child. The child is going to end up with the consequence of not having their parent, not having their brother, not having their sister, their auntie, their loved one, because they were trying to satisfy a commercial need or commercial desire, if you will, to have a toy. When your presence, your being, is more important than the toy, the present. So I am happy that you instilled in us that that's not the meaning of Christmas, to give away toys.
It's about people, about a child trapped in a situation not of his own choosing, because his mother and father came to the rescue. I want you to come to your children's rescue as well. One of the concerns I have done about this year is that this COVID-19 epidemic, you should be tested while there. If you found positive, you should be put in a proper place. Kim Fox, she used to be 10,000 of you in Cook County, now it's 4,000. Those of you there who are for purely reason you don't have the
Economics, the bail bonds.
We'll fight hard to get you out of jail. Maybe at least monitor an ankle bracelet. Don't get used to jail. Don't get used to it.
Well, and it's a national problem. The Marshall Project goes on to show that almost 1 in 5 persons in American prisons now have contracted COVID. That is astonishing, that persons that were given a jail sentence should be given a death sentence. We're looking at 1 in 5 persons that have been incarcerated in prison, not the county jails, now has contracted COVID. The state of Illinois has an obligation. Our governor here in the state of Illinois should have something to say about this. And it's a matter of character on coming out on the right side of history. These persons' lives are in jeopardy. These persons are contracting a deadly virus, and yet there's too much silence. So I'm proud to serve as the national spokesperson and to raise my voice, and let's put the light in these dark places.
Fight the right thing. You saw TV the other day. That woman in her home, the police went into her house, her naked, for a drug dealer who was not there. She didn't live there. We've been picking and protesting that, because when you come out of jail, come out fighting. We also want to work on a thing. We want you to get computers so you can learn how to program and apps and codes and get a skill. Turn jail cell into an opportunity to develop and to grow.
I know, and regarding the lady whose house was kicked in, officers have to be made accountable. The city of Chicago did not do that. There were men and women that worked in the force that should be held responsible personally.
Should be fired.
Should be fired and held personally responsible. You can't keep abusing people and then creating settlements and raising taxes on everyone else. So all of us that have to pay taxes are in fact participating in what was evil. This reminded me of something as horrific as the story of Sarah Bartman, Venus Hottentot, to see a black woman with no clothes handcuffed around all men for better than an hour. I can't help but think about Ahmaud Arbery down in Georgia. The people that killed him were not handcuffed. One of the officers was offered a glass of a cup of water. They were given dignity. And what we saw in Chicago with the gross incompetency is the suspect they were looking for had on an ankle bracelet and was in the unit next door where they were supposed to be. So was this a computer failure, a system failure? Was this the person that put the bracelet on? Like, someone should be held accountable and personally responsible.
Racism is a factor, Jonathan. If 11 black police are going, and probably been naked, been a different outcome.
Oh, it's terrible. You know, and also the social media companies, Dad, when we look at Google and the Facebook, the apps and the algorithms that they are putting into these feedback systems where drugs are distributed evenly across Chicago as in most other cities. But why do the police focus only on the black and the brown areas? That's because of the computer programs that are giving them the feedback to target those areas. Then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is racist at its very core, and they need to be held accountable on who's writing the program. That's why we need these young men and women that hear our voice in jail. They've got minds and guidance to script genius all over time. You need to be a programmer to make it a fair and unbiased program.
Well, you're alive. There's life, there's hope. Hope has many possibilities. First of all, decide today you're coming out. There's nothing to stay no longer. You're coming out. and you're gonna join the freedom movement. We're gonna turn jails into classrooms. We were in South Africa, Mandela. His jail cell became a museum.
I can't help but think about when you mentioned President Mandela's name. I remember when we last saw him together, and I'm sure he would be so proud of you and looking down from heaven now. He addressed you and said, "Freedom fighter." His ankles were swollen. He wasn't receiving public guests anymore. But you never stopped, Dad. You just keep on fighting. What drives you to keep fighting?
I think it's self-respect and dignity. I went to jail. I was 19 years old. Went to jail. I used the public library, and we broke the barrier. Arrested. Again in Greensboro, 2 years later, trying to use a downtown facility. We won those battles. We won the right to use libraries, the right to vote, and great changes. But Jonathan, every day I wake up because there's work to be done. And I think about Cook County Jail today. I'm not satisfied with the jail being full of our people, sick people who can't afford bail, who need a skill. Want to help you, you help yourself.
You know, when you mentioned that about South Carolina going to jail at the age of 19, South Carolina was the first state to make it illegal for black folks to read. For your first act of civil disobedience, if you will, true American independence and righteous indignation, I would like to say, is pretty profound.
If you read, write, and think, you cannot be contained. That's the real point. So while in jail, Malcolm learned to read and write, learned to think. He figured how to get out and not come back. Many of you may have been there before. Learn a lesson, go another way. Wise men go another way. Don't go back to the same situation.
And you mentioned Malcolm several times. Malcolm Little in Detroit Red, they called him. He realized he was illiterate when he went in there and just picked up a dictionary and read all 50,000 words and used that as an arsenal, exalted himself by picking up one dictionary. And the irony of that is you can buy a dictionary, you can get one for free, and you can get them at the dollar bookstore, and you can download them for free. We have to read.
The library and the jail, use the library. And most of all, if you're in jail, they change your mind. The man or woman thinking, so is he or so is she. Change your mind. Determine you'll be with your family next Christmas. You get out of there soon because if you're there, you're not convicted, you're free to leave. We're getting you out. You must come out, you must stay out, Jonathan.
With a plan. Fail to plan, plan to fail. And we know that there are obstacles, there's challenges, there are roadblocks, there's broken steps, there's glass, that there are many things that are designed to keep us down, but we're resilient people. And we've had it harder. I've heard Reverend Wilson talk about before, when we had to learn to read in slavery under a candlelight, under the moonlight. We have to have at least that much of our ancestors' fuel in our soul in order to seek freedom.
That's why I said my mind is a pearl. I can learn anything. They call it the coronavirus. A black woman was the lead scientist on trying to cure this virus.
And black women were the lead people to get the Americans to the moon. And like you said the other night, we were talking.
The hidden figures.
Right, that the whole idea of keeping our history suppressed. Like, who knew? They put John Glennon in the Senate. We saw a man walk on the moon. But it was a black woman mathematician that was denied access to white schools. But God gave her a great mind. She put man on the moon by doing the math. Because if you're wrong on the takeoff, you can die. If you're wrong on the liftoff, you will die once you get to there. And if you're wrong on the descent coming back to the earth, you will die. Why was that history hidden from us? Because we're great people. We do everything well when given the opportunity. And I will tell you one last thing about that. That black woman, Miss Johnson, who was denied education in the former white schools, was also educated by a black person. I want to know who even educated him. So math was in the bones, math was in the brain. A black person taught her because no white person would. These stories are so empowering. And to know that she lived on the same street as Grandma Gertrude, your mother-in-law and my grandmother, what a people we will be when we learn our history.
Well, all I'm saying to you today is, because we have to end this conversation, your mind is a pearl. You can learn anything in the world. Go back and say, I am somebody. Respect me, protect me, never neglect me. I am somebody. That doesn't break your spirit. God bless you guys. See you pretty soon out in the streets, join the picket line, Let's fight back. Let's close these jails and turn them into museums. Love you very much.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Hang all the mistletoe. I'm gonna get to know you better this Christmas. And as we trim the tree, how much fun it's gonna be together. This Christmas, fireside is blazing bright. Oh, we're caroling through the night, and this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me. Ooh. Shake her hand, shake her hand. Presents and cards are here. My world is filled with cheer and you, yes, this Christmas. And as I look around, your eyes outshine the tell they do. This Christmas, fireside is blazing bright. Oh, we're caroling through the night, and this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, shake a hand, yeah. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Put your mind and put your heart in a beautiful and a peaceful space, and I promise you your body will follow that space. Ooh, oh, sing it with me. Fireside is blazing bright. Oh, caroling through the night, and this Christmas it's got to be a very special Christmas for me. Yeah. Hey, come on and shake somebody's hand. Hang all the mistletoe. I'm gonna get to know you better this Christmas. And as we trim the tree, how much fun it's gonna be together. Yeah. This Christmas, fireside is blazing bright. Oh, 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 we're caroling through the night, and this Christmas, it's gonna be a very special Christmas for me. You shake somebody's hand. Hey, shake a hand right now. Hey, you ought to do it all over the land. Yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. Hey, hey. Oh yeah. Oh.
Get you involved in the conversation. People Passion in Politics, attorney Robert Patillo. We're joined now by Reverend Jesse Jackson, giving us some Christmas wishes and also some last charges as we head into the final weeks of the Georgia runoff. Reverend Jackson, how are you today?
If you're nice and not know, the Senator will bring you 2 cents for Christmas.
We're always blessed to have you, Reverend.
It's good to be with you, Robert. I thank you for your work. We can win this race in Georgia. That's exciting to me. And the Dr. King will be delighted. I mean, it's kind of just 10 days before his birthday. was a birthday present for him and for John Lewis. Was a birthday present.
Absolutely. You know, we had the big win in federal court last week where a judge agreed with voting rights groups, including Rainbow Push, that there's irregularities in the way that Georgia Secretary of State's office purged votes from the voter rolls. We delivered our demand for a meeting to the Secretary of State's office last Friday. Why do you think there are so many entities in Georgia in particular pushing voter suppression?
I want to thank Attorney C.K. Hoffa, President of the VA, Chair Rainbow Push for intervening as a lawyer in the case. Attorney Fred Gray was Rosa Parks, Dr. King's lawyer. He was the lawyer for the Stifler's case. He's a winner, beautiful 90-year-old brother. Georgia, you know, they're ex-slave holding state. They want to use oppressive schemes to deny us the right to exist. We keep on fighting back, and the good news, Georgia's leading the fight for the whole country now.
As we are entering the last couple weeks of the election season, we're already seeing shenanigans. We're seeing polling locations in Cobb County they're trying to close. The state GOP wants to get rid of election or absentee ballot drop boxes. What can people do to ensure that they can fight to protect and defend their vote?
Vote in the House. When you think about moving a lot box across town or something like that, think about a march from Selma to Montgomery, 50 miles. Think about Mandela in jail 27 years. The price we're paying for 2 years after is small compared to sacrifices made. The thing about trying to get the chain of 2 Jews and the Black Diamond, the thing about also up in Walmart. We're in the best position of our struggle. And those kind of little shenanigans compared to beating on the bridge and Dr. King being killed and Mandela in jail are small in comparison, really. You just get tough and fight back. Then not only give it away. One time I was president, I told my wife one night, I said, the person, you know me, beat up on me. I was looking at some pictures. She said, you said they're going to give you the nomination. I got to find out to embarrass our people. Yes, ma'am. But we was during our Lord to get ready to fight because the stakes are very high.
All right, we're a couple days before Christmas and then maybe a week before New Year's. What's your words of encouragement for people going into a Christmas season, even though we're dealing with a COVID wave, we're dealing with unemployment? What's your message of wisdom to the people out here?
The reason for the season is Jesus the Christ. I mean, he is a baby born, argument whose dad was. We've known that before. But under death warrant, Rome threatened to kill all the babies, very violent looking for him. And Mary and Joseph escaped to Egypt as immigrants, got there, stayed as a refugee. He comes to God. Christmas is about that kind of gift. It's about liberation, but emancipation is about change. Those are us who've gone through this experience of change and rejection. It's not about Santa Claus and gifts. It's really about life, liberation, and emancipation. So that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Reverend Jackson. And how can people join the Rainbow Push Coalition?
RainbowPush.org. Click membership. We need you to be involved in our struggle. Work today. We celebrate the night of the 5th.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jesse Jackson, President, Founder of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Join today, get a membership, rainbowpush.org.
Good morning. We are in the midst of a major drive to get more members, more people engaged and involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in public policy and you want to help change the policies that impact those incarcerated, change the policies that impact students attending colleges and universities, if you want to be a policymaker, then you need to join Rainbow Push and join by paying your $35 right now. Some of you watch us every week. You listen to us on the radio. You're viewing us in social media. We need you to become a member. It's only $35 a year. If you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, we've awarded more than $10 million to scholars year to date. What do you have to do to give and support Push? It's really very simple. You can go to rainbowpush.org if you're on a computer and press donate. Give any amount. Every dollar is important. you want to talk to somebody, call us at 773-256-2775. You can give right now, any denomination that you choose. You can text the word PUSH, P-U-S-H, to 41444. Text on your cell phone. Most of you have a cell phone. Just text PUSH, P-U-S-H, to 41444, and you can give any amount that you feel comfortable giving. Or call us 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and just press donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
Hi, I'm Hermine Hartman with another episode with Reverend Jackson on Conversations. Today we're going to talk to ministers, and we're going to talk about mentoring, and we're going to talk about being on the road. Reverend, now you have traveled, and on the road you have mentored people. Tell me about life on the road with Reverend Jackson.
First of all, how do you get on the road?
How do you get on the road?
When you travel, you begin to make relationships, make connections. So like I suppose I want to have y'all with me to learn to and meet people. When I came to school, I knew most of the road friends. I spoke to the churches, I went to the youth department. So it's just teaching young people the ways of the road, how you survive the road. Mm-hmm. The fact is, all girls have so much in common.
It was a teaching the model.
Teaching them out.
The network.
Yeah.
Connecting.
Key is relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the guys travel and meet people.
So they could learn.
And build relationships.
Mm-hmm. So with us today, we have Reverend William Hall of St. James Community Church and was a member of the youth division, and you traveled with Reverend Jackson. And also Bishop Tavis Grant, who's the National Field Director today at Rainbow Push, and is the minister of the Greater First Baptist Church in East Chicago, Indiana. Well, let me start with you. You traveled on the road with Reverend for a while.
Yeah.
What was your learning? What was your mentoring? What was your association?
One of the things that I learned, amongst many things, number one is work ethic. Well, Reverend was up at 4 in the morning, and then I was up at 3:30 in the morning.
You're trying to stay ahead.
Trying to stay ahead. You had to go get all of the newspapers. You had to print out all the emails. And not only work ethic, but compassion. There were times in which literally some days 3 or 4 cities in one day. And no matter how many people we saw, Reverend never was rude, never was above someone, never gave off that aura. So it was just a compassionate touch to anybody that you came in contact with. And then lastly, looking at the bigger picture. I'll never forget, we were in Morocco, coming back home with Dr. Exact. And I was on the phone dealing with something. And when I hung up the phone, Reverend looked at me and said, well, what was that about? And I told him the situation. And one of the famous quotes that I repeat 99 times, so people think it's mine, but I tell them forever, is that he said, the only way an eagle gets bit by a snake is if it stops flying high and walks on the ground. And so it was just moments like that, something bigger than whatever it is that, I was facing, and watching him and how he would look at something and look at the bigger picture. And so just looking at life from a lens that most wouldn't even look at. That's what I learned.
So you see great energy.
Absolutely.
High energy. He got more energy than everybody.
I'm still trying to bottle it up.
We still can't keep up with you. Right. Tavis, what's your experience been as a mentee with Reverend Jackson as you have initiated and built your ministry?
It started in 1988, and there were two dynamics to Reverend Jackson. There's Reverend Jesse Jackson, the civil rights icon, and then there's Reverend Jesse Jackson, the candidate. And they are separate and distinct, yet connected to one person. And I think not only do you encounter his energy, his keen sense for logistics and audience. With any number of people who are running his schedule, he knows his schedule. Is not a technologically savvy person at all, but knows everything. Name, address, location, what time. We were traveling with Reverend Jackson during '88, and at that time there was any number of people in the media pool.
This was the political campaign.
This is political
presidential campaign.
Presidential campaign. We're at the Admirals Club at O'Hare, and Reverend Jackson is meeting with us. His personality has no timing to it. It is always in and out. Those of us who are traveling with him are always attentive to when we need to leave, how we need to leave, who we need to leave with, because Reverend Hall has been very kind. Reverend Jesse Jackson will leave you. And if you've never been left by Jesse Jackson, you've missed out on an opportunity.
Now this is with
I never got left.
This is with Secret Service.
This is Secret Service.
This is with
this is
a
room
film
service,
crew, a media crew,
it's a
about
Secret
200
Service,
people.
room service, or any type of service.
Yes, there are planes, still on airplanes.
That's true.
And people have to respect their schedules, what they're doing. You have to be totally immersed in this to do this work. Love it. Don't love it, you'll get tired of it. It's not a job, it's a mission. So when I go on the road, I'm going to the mission. If one inspired by direct somebody, I go as their guest. And I have to respect their needs. So once I address those needs, I feel I get fulfillment.
4 years working with Reverend gave me substance, gave me insight, gave me something to say, gave me an opportunity to learn how to organize a church. And that was the beauty of it.
I came to know Reverend Jesse Jackson in 1980 as a student through Push Excel, to then be a volunteer and a staffer and now a national representative for the organization. So I have a very intricate relationship that matured me theologically and socially. There were books that Reverend Jackson traveled with. That may be Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, might be Howard Thurman, maybe Dr. King, maybe Dr. King. These books were mandatory. Then there were several folders of notes. He has a handwriting that only to this day he recognizes. It's a special code. It's not Morse code, it's Jackson code. But a part of it for me is the people that he, from Otis Moss to Jasper Williams, the individual he talks to how around the country to develop thought. And then you learn in traveling with Reverend Jackson how to become a speechwriter. Because on an airplane, on a train, in a car, he'll say these two things to you. Not pull out your cell phone, not pull out your tape recorder. He wants to actually see a pen and some paper.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's in a yellow, white, blue paper bag. He is obsessed with that process. But what you learn are the fundamentals of that. You have to learn the fundamentals of that. We were required to not just get the newspaper. We were required to read the newspaper. This new group, I don't know what they're required to do, but we were required to read the newspaper. Then we were required to identify articles in the newspaper to submit to him for relevance and almost your why are you here was almost validating your existence in the process.
Now, Will, you had an experience in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Tell me about that with the flag.
But back to these newspapers. I bought 3 newspapers, one for Reverend, one for me, and then the one that I wrote up that I gave to him, in addition to one that he read. Reverend's mother, when I first met her, first of all, very hospitable. And, when I traveled with Reverend, Miss Helen Jackson, I love to, watch Reverend, but I just knew there were certain times that Reverend needed his time or whoever. And I'll never forget the first time I met his mother. I walked out of the room, made sure he was good. Didn't stay far from the room, but she brought me back in the room. But we took a many trips to go see his mother. And then we would go do whatever else was required of us. So when the Charleston 9 happened, it was 8 funerals.
In a day?
And Reverend was there at both funerals, comforting every family. And flying back to see his mother in Greenville. And we were just there for that moment. But I'll never forget, he went to the governor, Nikki Haley at the time. He looked at her and said, the flag has to come down. And I'm looking at Reverend like he just told the governor that the Confederate flag has to come down. And we literally would spend the morning with his mother in Greenville, drive down or fly down, and would lobby all throughout the state capitol. And the day in which the flag came down, Reverend had gotten the call that we're going to vote for it today. We're going to vote for it today. We were literally in the hospital. Reverend sat there. He spent time with his mother. We flew down, and that was a 23-hour day. We were up for 23 hours. And literally, it passed in the middle of the night. And Reverend was up again at 4 in the morning, having been up 23 hours. And
Reverend, you got, no, they can tell me that. They was talking about 20. I've had some 48 out. Why you was late on them. You know they got labor law.
Exactly. And to see that flag come down, I'll never forget, we literally witnessed that flag come down. And that was monumental. That was the work. When I say Reverend walked that out, literally, the lobby.
You did the work. See, that's what people don't get. Right. It's the work. It doesn't just happen from a press conference. It doesn't happen from a press release. It doesn't happen from a TV interview. It happens from the work. And that's what you all were saying, is he taught you how to do the work to make it happen. That's the social activism that comes with the theology, that comes with the philosophy, and you put all that together, and that's a winning case.
His first sermon was, I come to bring good news to the poor and set the captives free. And from that framework, everywhere we went, at least 95% of the time, it wasn't vacation. It wasn't we were, out to just have fun. It would be a treat if Reverend said, hey, we're going to go to this event. But when we were at the event, we were still working. Because Reverend, I need to meet with you, I need to talk with you. John, get this person on the phone. But that lens of bringing good news to the poor, setting those who are bound by systems of oppression, setting them free, that was a framework in which I saw Reverend bring that scripture to life.
Likewise, some of my most memorable moments do include Reverend Jackson attending to his mother. He was not Reverend Jesse Jackson. He was not presidential candidate. This was son to mother. Equally so was his relationship with Mrs. Jackson and his family. You get a real sense of the depth of his own personal humanity,
his love,
and caring for the relationships that are close to him.
Such stories, such life experience, such changing.
But it's all in the spirit of serving. I think many people looking from a distance sense that there's some sense of celebrityism or being an icon. I've seen Reverend Jackson ridden with him in dirty, dusty trucks. And I've ridden with him in limousines. The most common denominator is he doesn't change. He has that bottom-up way of life that still exists today, that gives you a real sense of what the cost of serving.
I met Al Sharpton 12 years old, his mother in front of me. Most kids at Al's age are trying to be cut out with a basketball player. Al wanted to preach.
Al wanted to be a minister.
And so Al was a hard working man the rest of the day. When I was out a radio week, 12 television, he serves. Because needs the basic organization, service is power. You have to serve. We can all be things, we can all serve.
But Reverend, we're talking about social justice and we're talking about public things. We talked a little bit about the family things. But I'm going to tell you something that's always been very impressive to me, in spite of a very hectic schedule. Not a busy schedule, but a hectic schedule. You go see sick people in the hospital. You visit the sick. And you go do funerals. And they're funerals from bottom up. They're funerals from a janitor, from a kid, maybe to a congressman. But that has always, and you stop your schedule. You tend to the family, not just go to the funeral, but tend to the family.
The movement is my life. Life is an unfolding sermon.
Reverend, where do we go from here? What's the American future? 2020, we're approaching the end of 2020. It's been a tough year.
63 in Washington. Then there was only one black elected in the whole South. Lyra Johnson, Atlanta, Georgia. They talk about the Tuskegee experiment. Didn't have a black official in Tuskegee. Now there's a black male Tuskegee and black male Birmingham and Selma and Montgomery. He never saw a black man in Atlanta.
And Georgia.
62 black college students today. The world is so different today than it was then. They were faced with pandemic 19, COVID-19, and COVID-16-19, when we came on slave ships. And yet, we will make it. All the protocols, distancing and hand sanitation and masks, they really do work. There's a vaccine now. People using the Tuskegee Infirmary. I won't take it. I'm going to take it. The option of not having some medicine. The lead scientist is a black woman. So you've got to compare with Tuskegee. And it's not just for blacks only. We discourse because of our living conditions. But we should not be afraid to try medicine when we're sick.
That's right.
I think equal to that is the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Reinstating the Voting Rights Act, expanding it and making it better. In the midst of this pandemic, making health care both affordable and accessible. You know, Warp Speed raises some concern, but nobody has concern about the cost. And the cost of health care has been a real battle and fight for Reverend Jackson. We've got to use this pandemic, and what we learned is that they can make health care affordable and accessible to everyone. We've got to tap in the wheel to do that, to not just make people available to vaccine, but there are other therapies and other means of being much more proactive and preventive in health care. And that too is part of the Jackson legacy.
We've shared 250,000 people this March. 7 chest sites in the community works out there with Sean Penn. And they baby diapers, which are in this room today. Food stamps, you cannot buy food. You cannot buy diapers with food stamps. Gone or alcohol in the diapers. That doesn't make sense. So people can give diapers. And mothers, they can have to have 6 new diapers a day. $80 a month. On fixed income, you can't afford $80 a month for diapers. They walk around wet, they get disease, they get rashes, all that.
It's cold.
So again, serving matters. Little stuff that makes a big stuff in the White House. Diapers for a mother or a baby, it's a big deal.
On that note, we're going to say thank you.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tavis. Thank you, Reverend Jackson.
Thank you, Reverend Jackson.
And at this time of the year, you just heard something quite powerful and beautiful to serve. And I guess that's maybe what 2020 has been all about, is to teach us all one way or another
How to serve.
how to serve.
That's right.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
We are sanctuary. We are a sanctuary.
When I think of Rainbow Push, I think of 2 words: social justice.
Education advocacy.
Political empowerment.
Freedom and equality.
Corporate partnership.
Stop the violence. Save the children. Don't get in. Shut it down. If we don't get in, shut it down.
Political change.
Inclusion, evolution, progress, justice.
Jesse Jackson.
Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive. Keep hope. Keep hope alive. Alive.
We want to be bridges to end these cultural gaps.
We're going forward. By hope. Not backwards. By fear. Hope.
Dr. King, I went to jail with a group of 7 students, July 17, 1960, almost 60 years ago. We never stopped moving. I lost a few of jail cells and death. We never stopped moving. I thought it was time to write some of it down so the older generation can learn how we did, and what we did, and how global it was. Was speaking about Mandela in South Africa, India, Qatar, Gandhi in India, here at home. This book tells the story, so please get it and give it to your friends. Read it, let's argue about it, let's discuss it.
Yep, so the book is Keeping Hope Alive, Sermons and Speeches of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. It's quite a good collection. You know, we've got sermons and speeches from around the globe because you have made such a global impact, not just here in the U.S., but around the world.
Thank you for tuning in to our International Saturday morning broadcast. We need your support. Here are ways to give to Rainbow Push Coalition. Text PUSH, P-U-S-H, to 41444 to support the work of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. and Rainbow Push Coalition. When you shop, Amazon gives. Visit Amazon Smile and select Push for Excellence as your charitable organization by starting your shopping at smile.amazon.com.
Hi, I'm Todd Yeary here outside Dr. King's workshop, the Rainbow Push headquarters, where people of goodwill from all walks and all places gather as comrades in the movement for justice and equality. Social justice movements have been birthed in the imaginations of people in places just like this. You can be a part of this justice movement too. Join Rainbow Push as we fight for justice in the 21st century. Go to rainbowpush.org or dial 773-FREEDOM and remember, keep hope alive.
Get involved with the movement.
Somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Join the movement.
If you're not a member, become a member.
I am somebody.
Fighting the most important battles for freedom and justice for all.
You made us change. Oh, trying to bring closer.
Join Rainbow Push.
But you're not pushing me away.
Join the movement. Join